the fraud on their own and notified the FBI. We all know this is bullshit, because what happened was is they came out with that date after MasterCard publicly advertised, which we're going to get to in a moment. And what it came out to is it wasn't just the name data, it was the track to date on the credit card. That is the stuff that even back then, thou shalt not keep track to data, that's always been the rule, and they kept it. And what it was is it wasn't an active system, they just kept it to have it. Because they thought maybe somebody in the business intelligence unit would do some analysis on it. You don't really need it at that point for any history. So 40 million transactions exposed. So this is my favorite metric. I really hate the $206 per record BS numbers. But this is some good math. 40 employees, 40 million credit card transactions. We have a one-to-one relation, or a million-to-one relationship. So it's just, I like round numbers. I'm bad at math. So I'm going to get that second time. 3 minutes up. So, Visa drops card systems on June 30th. Card systems then acquired by Pay by Touch. MasterCard is still working with them. American Express is still working with them. Pay by Touch, if you remember, is going to do biometric payments in retail. Like you go to the gas station, you can stick your thumb on there because we all know biometrics is really secure and awesome. It's going to save the world. And then Pay by Touch systems is shut down March 19, 2008. And this was like this really weird thing because when I was doing the research on it, it had nothing to do with the card system stuff. It's like this crazy story because Pay by Touch realized nobody wanted to biometric, so they bought card systems to get access to the merchant account. And they were going to do some other payment thing, and then there was mishandling of funds by the CEO, and then the court basically, the board came in and said we need to got the courts involved, and the courts appointed a consultant from like Accenture or someplace like that. I can't remember who it was to run the company while they were like trying to figure out what to do with the whole thing, and it was in receivership. And then they went bye-bye when they get down to it. Now, this one is actually interesting because we know how this breach occurred. Any guesses? And it is not lost credentials. SQL injection. So, SQL injection back in 2005. Anybody know what kind of SQL injection? It's the most popular one. Even today. XP command shell. So, Windows SQL Server. Particularly back then, by default, now you have to manually turn it on, but back then by default, if you don't know, an XP command shell, which is, if you can inject a SQL command that will launch a command shell on the host. And so what you would do is they do the SQL injection and pop the command shell up. Very common. As a matter of fact, we're going to get back to that in a few years of the timeline here. So really interesting because now we've talked about the lost tapes. We talked about bad credentials. Now we've got SQL injection. This is one of the first big cases, at least in terms of something going public. But it's time that we need to have a little segue and talk about statistics. So we're going to put out context. We actually got to look at the numbers, not just the case studies around this thing. And I think this is important to read before we get too far into statistics. For those that haven't seen it. So, sorry, math geeks love this one. Like, what's 2 plus 2 equals 5 for very large values. 2 hydrogen atoms are walking down the street. One was an electron. I'm positive. Okay. Now, most of the numbers, pretty much all the numbers I'm pulling here come from the Open Security Foundation. They are openly stored. Now, the way these numbers work, we need to talk about this and put these into context, is the OSF basically builds their database based on public disclosures. So they have army of volunteers, scour the media sources. When they see something in the breach, it gets reported. They pull it together, they throw it into the database. We're talking a little bit about the limitations of that, but it's still pretty interesting for trending. If we look across the years here, we see that, you guys can see this. See this. That's no worse. So, I was worried about that when I was doing the slide. I think these brighter colors here. Well, if we look, we've got almost no reporting. A little bit of a bump around 2001. These are the numbers of incidents. Then 2004, 2005 is this low. And then it goes up to there. And then we get up to there. And as we go across, and it's kind of interesting. So for example, 2008, we saw a big spike. We saw a decline in the number of incidents in 2009. And obviously 2010 is still low. It's only for early in the year. We can actually correlate that, this one might be easier to read, by the number of people who are affected, by pulling the numbers together in terms of actually, instead of how many incidents went ahead and occurred. And they sort of match up for the most part, the affected versus the number of instances Because, for example, not all of the reports show you how many records were breached. So we're reminding the database for this stuff. We have things like 0. And yet on the same couple of days, March 26th, we have one that's 1,200,000, no, it's 12,500,000. Does anybody even remember that BNY Mellon shareholder services breach? I don't actually. And I track this stuff. And I missed a 12 million, record breach associated with it. So the numbers are skewed. So what we need to be very cautious about is drawing too many conclusions. How many people have seen a vendor press release that says there were X% more breaches this year than last year? Were there X% more breaches this year than last year, or records affected? Nobody has a fucking clue. Because all we're relying on is press reports. There's no mandatory reporting or anything along those lines. And we're going to get back to the mandatory reporting bit. So, we can still spin the numbers though and find some interesting trends. Such as looking for gaps. The green is the total number of people affected, blue is the number of incidents, or on different scale. But being able to compare kind of the gaps that are within there. We need to go ahead and compare the, if we look at actually the different causes of breaches. For example, we find that, for hacks, we tend to have a large number of incidents, a large number of lost records, versus a stolen laptop, where we have a lot of incidents with lower numbers of lost records. We have a lot of incidents over a bunch of different categories. So, for example, if we look here, that 20%, I believe, is the stolen media, lost computer category. So, we've got a good ability to characterize a lot of this stuff. What I would decide to do to make it a little bit more digestible is I focused on a couple of key things, looking at these numbers. Consolidating instance by type. And what I did is, said, you know what, my purpose is, as an analyst, as a researcher, I care about lots of stolen media, hacking web-related incidents, versus fraud, that's the people, social engineering sorts of things, email leaks, unknown, snail mail. Those were the ones I consolidated a bunch of categories into those to look at some of the trends. But when I did that, it started looking pretty interesting. If we look at the incidents by type, in the reporting database, 50% lost stolen, laptops, hard drives, USB, CDs, those sorts of things. Anybody surprised by that number? I'm not. I mean, that's what drove the headlines for months. There's tons of breaches I left out that if you did actually read the timeline, you can see. If we actually look at the number of people affected by type, though, we find that it totally reverses. And this is the trend that I have confirmed through other sources that we're going to get to. Because we find out that it is the hacking of the web incidents that result in far more records being exposed versus actually the lost devices and such. Anybody have any comments, questions about that? Yes?
Well, just about your data, I don't know if people have seen this, but a couple of people, that's Mogull and a guy named Luther Martin, Voltage, have actually taken these data loss data, plotted them on a log count, and you get a normally distributed set of data. Now, I draw no conclusion whatsoever from that, other than to say that's interesting.
And that's what I do too. I think it is interesting and it's worth looking at and correlating with the other information we have. Yeah.
And back to your earlier report about connecting actual fraud incidents to the number of records that are affected. Do you have any correlation between those?
Next slide. Yeah, next slide. And so I actually put these together on a bit of a graph here. We can see the incidents versus affected across all of these on the same page. I kind of think this is interesting. Even snail mail shows up for a lot. But this is what all my research came down to. I know of no cases where a lost backup case with a lost hard drive resulted in fraud. I can find none. Now, I'm sure they're there. They've got to be out there. I can find none. No public reporting. Does anybody know of any? Or results in financial fraud? None. How many people know of direct financial fraud associated with the web hacking stuff? All of us. So there's a clear difference. This is why we have to look at those numbers in context. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think the web and general hacking will run into complex stuff separately now.
Yeah, I mean, but even if we separate those, we know that there's losses within those. I've got some more stats near the end that we talked about with that. So I find the statistics interesting. That's why I call this an exercise. We have to take these within context. And that's why I think it's important to do this case study approach as opposed to just relying on the statistics. But we need to, I also think it's important to combine both. So,